leadership, Dr. Cherry. Are leaders born or are they created?
So I'm not a either or. I'm a both and.
Okay.
And so any leader, any person who wants to be a leader, still has to do some work, right? So I remember my shit stinks. So I've had a multi-million-dollar consulting firm for a while. Shit still stinks. So I'm still learning. I have 32 certifications, so I just keep learning. I mean, the latest one I just got is in neuroscience. Why? Because I just want to keep perfecting my craft and sharpening my saw. So it's both.
Yeah.
You're born however you're born, and then you get the training and the experience from the world that helps to craft you. And that's what we want to do. We want to keep learning and keep growing.
What are some of the commonalities that all great leaders possess?
So the willingness to help others. That's the biggest thing.
Wow.
And so I think Zig Ziglar said it best. You can have whatever you want if you help enough other people get what they want. And so great leaders inspire. And so there's a misconception that leadership and management are the same, and they're not. So you can be a fantastic leader and a horrible manager. And a manager has to manage the day-to-day. How many widgets did you do? How many things did you do? That's what managers do. Leaders inspire you. And leadership, by definition, as John Maxwell sometimes defines it, is influence. So if I'm a leader, I can influence you to want to do something and inspire you to greatness. And so that's the biggest thing about being a leader.
Okay. So a leader can actually inspire the manager to be a better manager.
A leader can inspire the manager to be a better manager, but technically you need both positions because somebody still has a check to make sure that is translated.
Okay.
That is getting done.
Gotcha.
And that's the manager.
Okay.
There's some people that shouldn't be leaders at all.
Whew.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And how do you go through yourself to figure out if you should be or you shouldn't be a leader?
Well, so everyone has the potential. This is interesting. Everyone has the potential to be a leader, but probably not a manager. Because there's a skill set that's needed to be a manager. Like you got to want to check and help you get the training and all that. Get well plan. Anyone really can be a leader, but not everyone is qualified. At this point, like they don't know how to lead. They don't know how to get the results. They don't know what to do. And they need a coach, they need help. And so, I mean, just think about at every stage in our life when we weren't able to do something successful, we probably were able to reach out. Pee Wee, John A. White Park, when I was the little cheerleader out there, we had coaches.
John A. White. Wow.
we had the coaches and we had all of those things that kind of help work, that make that system work. And so you got to have a network. And so I think that people should have a board of directors, very much like a corporation. And you need to have 5 people. You don't even have to talk to them. And this is where we have to go back into our own spirituality. And that is, let's say that your favorite person on the planet is, and I like to be controversial, so I'm going to say it's like George W. Bush. Let's say it's George Bush. You might not ever talk to him, and the reason why I say George Bush is because I like things that people don't like. We want to sit up and discuss why we don't like certain people, but what we're missing are the characteristics that made them successful. So the reason why I love George Bush is because he put people in place. He was a phenomenal leader. He could never manage. He couldn't manage. He was a horrible manager because he had some gaps.
Yeah.
But what made him a fabulous leader is that he knew that he had those gaps.
Okay.
And so you just got to give people a team and make sure that they have what they need to be successful.
That's something we were just saying, like even a coach. Because I remember when I played football for Bunch, all we had was one coach. Coach Carey, where he rest in peace. You know what I mean? We talking about 1982, 83, 82, 83. It's just one coach.
Yeah.
And we didn't win but so many games. But I noticed the other teams that we lost against, Southwest kicked our ass.
Oh, yeah.
But they had like 3 or 4 coaches. They had a defensive coach.
Yeah.
We just had one coach just for the whole team. other teams had 3 different coaches.
Exactly.
Offensive coach, defensive coach, and all. And it was like, oh, that's what we missing.
Yeah.
We only got one coach. He can't do but so much.
Come on.
So it's like the leader and the manager that trying to do basically run the whole company by himself almost. You know what I mean? So I use that analogy when you said it, the whole coach thing. That's what I thought about.
Oh, that's a great one.
Yeah.
Speaking of life coaching, myself, I'm a thinker and I like to have everything in my mind, okay? I'm not organized at all.
Yeah,
how important is it for me to write this stuff down, goals and everything else? But I feel like it keeps my mind sharp by not writing it down.
Well, so this is the
You see what I'm saying?
thing.
Yeah.
See,
I need to have a bulletin myself. I've been tripping, yeah.
So let me say this. So I will say I'm Dr. Cherry, quite contrary. And people might want to know, how does my garden grow? You know, and it grows by different ideas. I do not agree with most of the stuff people say. So people always talk about procrastination. I don't think procrastination is real because I think that when it's time for you to do it, you get the shit done.
Ooh.
Right?
I'm with you.
Okay? And what's happening for the average person is that we are so logical and so linear that we want to do, and forget that we're human beings. So what's happening for most of us is right when it's time to do a really important project, we cleaning up the house. It's like, well, why am I cleaning up the house right now?
Yeah.
You get sidetracked by some
But
shit.
it's not a sidetrack. It is an intentional track. And that intentional track is because your whole body needs to be engaged. You are a whole body individual, and you have been sitting, trying to think of something, and your body is like, okay, I'm not going to help you. I am not going to help you until you move me. And so what starts to happen is you start moving your body, cleaning up, and doing all this stuff, and you're like, oh my goodness, I have the insight right now. And so when we think about being unorganized or quote unquote disorganized, it's only that we have adopted a paradigm that doesn't fit us. So as psychologists, we have this huge book that's called the DSM-4. We can label everybody something. Let's be clear. There's something we can be. So I'm obsessive compulsive, whatever, which I probably am. But I don't use the D. I want to accept the D. I won't say I'm obsessive compulsive.
Disorder.
Right. I am dyslexic. I'll accept that. But I don't call it a dyslexic disorder. I call it I'm differently able to see the world in the way that I need to see it.
That's right.
So what I'm saying to you and what I say to other people is you've got to figure out what's going to work for you. So just because these linear, logical people want to, if you write it down, you can get it. Yeah, y'all read somebody else saying that, and that's what you think. You've gotten it, and you've gotten it over time, and we call that self-efficacy. So every time you're successful one time, that means you can do it again.
That's right.
Yeah,
and so it might not be the way I want to do it. And, some people always say, I need to do that. No, you don't need to do that. That's a modal operator of necessity. You can do it if you want to, but it doesn't make you successful. So if you're a thinker and you want to write it down, write it down. I have 25 books that I have out on Amazon. And so when I tell people I'm dyslexic with 25 books, they're like, well, how'd you do it? Well, I stopped listening to people telling me how to write a book. I do all my books. I get a recorder. I speak about them. And then I turn those into chapters. So I get the little recorder, I time it right. I'm not trying to do what other people say I'm supposed to do. I know how the brain works. I know that the average span is 20 minutes. That's the multiple. That's it. And now we keep decreasing it. It's about 3 minutes now because that's the length of a TikTok video, right? So you just need to know what you're trying to get, the points out, and how you're doing it. So you're not disorganized. You're perfectly oriented for the way success looks like for you. So it might be you put up a sticky note, or it might be you have a verbal message to yourself. But you don't have to do it the way other people do it to bring out who you are.
What if you don't verbalize it or write it down? It just stays in your head and you just go back to it in your mind.
That's powerful. I mean,
Okay.
it has to work for you.
That's
Okay.
me.
You
That's
see-
how I work.
Yeah, because I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, it has to work for you until it doesn't. And so it can't be.
and see, that's why I'm mad. I think I'm getting towards this not working as well as it used to. And I'm like, I think I could be
Until
a little
it
bit more
doesn't.
productive than
Yeah,
I've
when
been.
she said it doesn't. I saw it struck something like,
Exactly.
hey, hold on.
Yeah.
Whoa.
When it stops working,
Yeah.
be hot. When it stops
Come on.
working, you're going to do something different.
Okay.
And so the other thing is, it doesn't have to be broken to fix it. So people will say that a lot, but everyone is differently oriented. So this spectrum that we're all on means that the way that you're going to get success is not going to be the way that I'm going to get success, but success is going to have your name on it. And so it's important that we give ourselves that permission and shift and change as we need to.
I agree with that. Everybody's journey is different, man. That's why even sometimes when I be on the panels, you know,
I'm with
different
you.
little events or whatnot. Yeah, so man, just tell us, man, how you made it, man. And I'm like, well, you got to think, bro. It's first of all, I started in '85, so
Yeah.
it's certain things that gave me a certain type of drive. Technology wasn't as what it is now.
You had to
I
really
could-
want it back
yeah,
then.
so I could tell you my journey, but only 20% of that may play a part in another producer's journey as far as being successful. That's why sometimes when they ask me that, I kind of cringe, like, you know, I could tell you this, but that don't mean it's gonna work for you.
Yeah.
You know, because it's you 30 years younger than me, basically. Like,
It's a different time.
yeah, there's so many different things going on. So yeah, everybody's journey is different. I think, you know, mind state and all that. So I agree with you on that.
Exactly.
And even if we can't do what you did, what we can take from that are the characteristics. So you've been doing this since 1985. What does that mean? That means you
Consistent,
are a hard worker,
persistent.
consistent. You put the time in, all of that kind of stuff. So there are some traits and characteristics that we want to borrow from people, and that goes back to your board of directors. Like a person might not ever meet Toon. And I was like, Aldrin, people might not ever meet him, but what they can start to say is from his journey, here's what I see. They might not ever meet B. Hightower, B. High.
That's
but
right.
what they will able to say is like, okay, these are the traits.
Yeah.
And so what we all have the opportunity to do in our lives are try on the traits. Like, does this trait work for me? So I don't want to do it like you did it because I can't.
Yeah.
Like, so, you know, we're all born originals, but most of us will die carbon copies. And we don't even have carbon copy paper anymore. So why are we
I
trying
haven't
to
seen
be...
that shit in years. That's
Right.
gone,
Yeah.
right?
Why are we trying to be
Yeah.
like somebody who we are not? And so we've got to really decide what that journey looks like for us.